episode of Law Weekly, we hear from women judges and senior female legal practitioners about some of the challenges women face in their climb to the top of the profession. They all spoke at the first Southwest Zonal Workshop of the National Association of Women Judges of Nigeria, which held in Lagos on Thursday, March 14, 2024. March, of course, is the International Women's Month, and it's only appropriate that we turn our attention to us women and the issues that affect us. Happy International Women's Month, ladies, and welcome to Law Weekly. I am Shola Shoyeli. Closely following the International Women's Day celebrated March 8 every year is the Mother's Day celebration in UK, Ireland, and many of the Commonwealth countries, including Nigeria, as well as the International Day of Women Judges, both of which are celebrated March 10 every year. In April 2021, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 75274, designating the day March 10 as the International Day of Women Judges. The idea behind this resolution is to celebrate the strides women have made in reducing the gender gap in the judiciary, to highlight the challenges they encounter and further chart new paths to attaining the goal of gender parity in the judiciary worldwide. This year, the resolution invited member states and all relevant stakeholders to hold activities and public awareness campaigns designed to promote the equal and full participation of all women at all levels of the judiciary. In Nigeria, the National Association of Women Judges is taking that resolution seriously. The president of the association, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun of the Supreme Court, in conveying a foremost objective, directed all the women judges and critical stakeholders to pursue the agenda of inclusivity, growth, and expansion of the leadership space by holding zonal workshops to achieve this objective. At this gathering of women judges, the chairperson of the local organizing committee of this first Southwest Zonal Workshop of the National Association of Women Judges of Nigeria, Justice Oluwatoyin Atinuke-Ekpaye, in her welcome address, says this is a directive they are not taking lightly.
This year, the International Association of Women Judges, in celebration of the 3rd anniversary of the International Women's Day, Women Judges Day, focused on empathy and action, women and girls in carceral settings. The question being, what happens when the prisoner is also a mother? This, I dare say, is a big topic, and we may be inviting all of you once again to the Center of Excellence and the Land of Aquatic Splendor to consider this very important topic. For it cannot be overemphasized that women's representation in the judiciary is key to ensuring that the courts represent the citizens, address their concerns, and hand down sound judgments. By their presence, women judges enhance the legitimacy of courts, sending a loud and powerful signal that the court system is open and accessible to those who seek recourse to justice.
Going down memory lane, Justice Ekpaye pays tribute to the women who have gone before, trailblazers who have shattered the glass ceiling and broken barriers to pave way for many more women.
We stand on their shoulders because they put in the work, they sacrificed, and they showed us that all things are possible. We remember and celebrate Honorable Justice Modupe Oladuni Omoebo, the first female High Court judge appointed on the 10th of November 1969. We celebrate Honorable Justice Aluma Mukhtar, GCON, the first female justice of the Supreme Court, appointed in 2005, and also the first female Chief Justice of Nigeria, appointed on the 8th of July 2012. We celebrate Honorable Justice Roselyn Omotosho of blessed memory, the first female head of court in Nigeria, appointed as a Chief Judge of the High Court of Lagos State on the 12th of April 1995. We celebrate Chief Mrs. Olufolake Solanke, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, CON, the first female Senior Advocate of Nigeria, conferred in March 1981. Mrs. Harriet Balogun, the first female chair of the Body of Benchers, appointed in 1997. Chief Mrs. Priscilla Kuye, first female president of the Nigerian Bar Association, elected in 1992. Professor Jadesola Akande, of blessed memory, the first female dean, Faculty of Law, Lagos State University, and first female vice chancellor, a professor of law, Lagos State University. Honorable Justice Roselyn Dozimo, also the first female chief judge of Delta State, appointed on the 23rd of March 2023, and later the first female administrator of the National Judicial Institute, NJI, appointed in August 2014. I cannot forget Honorable Justice Zainab Adamu Bulkachua, OFR, first female president of the Court of Appeal, appointed on the 17th of April 2014. Finally, I must mention and give kudos to the 39 women judges of the High Court of Lagos, the largest, busiest judiciary with the highest representation of women judges.
The president of the National Association of Women Judges in Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekere-Ekun, in an opening address, pays tribute to the second African president of the International Association of Women Judges, Nigeria's own Justice Binta Unyako of the Federal High Court, and goes on to highlight some of the challenges inhibiting women from reaching the zenith of their careers.
Some of these challenges include domestic impediments, difficulty in maintaining a work-life balance, lack of support in the home, working conditions that are not favorable to women, such as frequent postings of women with young families, gender bias, the belief that certain positions are more suited to the male gender, lack of mentorship programs, to mention a few. Women have been exceptionally blessed by God with innate skills and ability to multitask, which can enhance and support nation building. It is therefore imperative to recognize the invaluable need for the participation of women in policy making and to strive to ensure their inclusivity in the promotion of policies that are gender sensitive and which provide greater access to justice.
She says the National Association of Women Judges in Nigeria will work closely with the International Association of Women Judges, IAWJ, to promote gender equality, the protection of women, children and vulnerable persons, and inclusivity of women in judicial policies.
It is significant to note that the International Association of Women Judges has partnered with Co-Impact, a philanthropic collaborative fund, to develop and implement a multi-year program to enable, support, and promote sustainable leadership pathways for women in leadership in the Global South. To this end, it is working with affiliate associations in 5 countries, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Mexico, and the Philippines, to address and work out strategies to overcome the barriers confronting women in leadership in the profession. This initiative is called Women in Leadership in Law, WILIL. It is for this reason that the EXCO of Naujin decided to hold workshops in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to beam a spotlight on these challenges and to also proffer solutions that are uniquely suited to our own environment. It is hoped that the series of workshops will provide a roadmap that will lead to the enhancement of women in leadership in the judiciary and other fields of endeavor.
The chief host at this event is the Chief Judge of Lagos State, and when he mounted the podium, he noted that Lagos State has been blazing the trail in enhancing inclusivity in its judiciary.
As far as the topic of this workshop is concerned, Lagos State has a very high pass mark. I have all the exhibits to prove my case in that respect. I can confidently say that there is no barrier to be broken because the door has always been open, because all the opportunities have always been given. And I say, on the altar of merit, our ladies in the Lagos State Judiciary have come to the bench, both at the lower bench and the High Court bench on the altar of merit. I made that tradition, I have continued it, and will continue it.
Senior legal practitioners who spoke at the event noted that despite the feats recorded by some women in the legal profession, there is a need to further enlarge the leadership space to enhance the development of the rule of law and better justice administration and delivery in the country.
Notwithstanding this positive story above, it must be noted, however, that the Supreme Court did not have a female justice until 2005. The existence of the Supreme Court dates back to about, and today we have had 17 Chief Justices of Nigeria, with Honorable Justice Aloma Mokhtar GCON as the only female past Chief Justice of Nigeria. Also between 1976 and now, we have had about 7 presidents of the Court of Appeal, with only Honorable Justice Brukashoa, OFR, and Honorable Justice Monica Dongba-Mensah are the only 2 female presidents of the Court of Appeal.
As we gather here, we acknowledge the giant strides made by women in the legal profession. Yet, we are also acutely aware of the persistent barriers that hinder these women in the full participation in advancement. It is imperative for us, as legal practitioners and as advocates for justice, to confront these barriers head-on and to work tirelessly to dismantle them.
The Lagos State government agrees that there is a need to collaborate on how to dismantle the barriers standing in the way of women.
Each of us has a role to play in dismantling the barriers that stand in the way of women's progress and ensuring that their voices are heard, talents recognized, and contributions valued. It is on record that the Lagos State Judiciary is the oldest, largest, pace-setting, and most reformed-oriented judiciary in Nigeria. Thank you. And more importantly, it is the judiciary with the largest number of women judges. We are, however, not resting on our oars, as we are demonstrating unwavering commitment to promoting gender equality and inclusiveness through our Themes Plus agenda. The plus in this Themes Plus represents our administration's intentional and serious agenda in the area of inclusiveness.
In her keynote speech, Justice Oludotun Adefokpe Okogie notes that barriers to women's career advancement are almost never blatantly obvious. It could present in the form of tribe, religion, childbearing age, and many others. She, however, gives some suggestions for breaking the barriers.
My experience and my deduction from persons who have broken the leadership barrier for women in the legal profession, and my suggestions are the following. 1, leadership does not have to be the topmost position. Otherwise, few women will be classed as leaders. Women who have broken the glass ceiling in this context are women who have attained a position of influence in any organization. In effect, for you to have broken the glass ceiling, you don't have to be the chief judge. You don't have to be in the Supreme Court. You don't have to be in the Court of Appeal. It's good for you to be in the High Court, but even if you are not there, you can still be a person that is breaking the glass ceiling. Otherwise, you will find out, that you will become frustrated wherever you are, because your eye will be upon that exalted position that you want to go. You can make your difference wherever you are. And as I say, I also talk to, because I see there's some people in the legal profession here, where you are, you can distinguish yourself, you can break whatever ceiling that needs to be broken. And now, in breaking the glass ceiling, We more often than not have to make choices between family and advancement at work. Your home front is very important, as there's no eventual pleasure in attaining a leadership position only to fail in the home. Once the home front is settled, half the battle is won.
Other senior female legal practitioners who spoke as panel members also share how they have broken the many barriers in their rise to the top of the legal profession.
You know, there's nothing you cannot achieve, but you must set your mind. You must be intentional. You must have that mindset that I can do it. And you know one thing I saw in my journey? Women supported me.
I'm going to have to hand over to the next generation. So we must be determined and committed to supporting them and to encouraging them.
Mentorship got me through. It was mentorship from the likes of Ariafe Babalola.
But if you want to be treated like your male colleague, you must have your background issues tidied up. Hopefully you have a good husband or a friend who is cooperative and is your champion for you to excel in the work that you do, so he understands and is able to hold the home fort for you. Some people have wonderful mothers who are able to help them look after their children, wonderful nannies, but you must not let your domestic issues, don't put it in the front burner when you are in the workplace.
As you contribute your nation building, you'd also take care of your mental health. Thank you very much.
Thanks for staying tuned. On the sidelines of the Conference for Women Judges, I spoke to a few more judges to share their story and their strategies for overcoming barriers in the legal profession.
I was a young girl, born and bred in Lagos on the island. I had the High Court close to my house. I had the vision of one day becoming a lawyer and practicing in this High Court. I achieved that. I got off from that. I became a judge in the same jurisdiction of my bar. And on for 25 years, from the bar to the bench. And after, close to my retirement for about 2-3 years, I was the admin judge, Lagos. I think this is just a bit of the breaking of barriers that women who are focused can achieve. Beyond that, women are achieving more than what I did, because I retired almost a year ago now, and women had become vice chancellor, women had become deputy vice chancellor, women are in ministers, although we are still looking up to the president to appoint more women in his cabinet.
I would say there's hard work, there's resilience, because there are challenges. That is the whole essence of this workshop, that women face unique challenges that their male counterparts do not face. But that shouldn't deter you from striving to the top. Some of the stories we heard today are people who had challenges in getting to the top, maybe rejection after rejection, but they stood firm and eventually they got there. The other thing is to look to those who have gone ahead. Try and aspire to be like them, to emulate them, and seek out mentors where you can. Mentors have been on that road before, and they can guide you and share their own wealth of experience, so that some of the things that affected them, you don't have to go through it. So that's my advice. And then what women judges bring to the bench, it's diversity. Diversity means that the populace, the litigants, they feel more confidence in the legal system, in the administration of justice, when they see themselves represented on the bench.
I look at young lawyers, those that come for attachment from the law school in my court, or those that are practicing, and I try to encourage them, because women must support women, that's number one. But I make sure they're not sloppy, I don't embarrass them, in court. Some of them come with their wigs. I send my registrars to them. You know what I mean? So I try to make sure they understand that they have to be prepared when they come to court. So what I'm trying to tell the young people is I don't look to say, oh, that person is a senior advocate. I just want to be a senior advocate. It's a judge. It's hard work. You have to, crawl before you can walk, before you can fly. But you will fly eventually. If you put in integrity is something, don't compromise it for any reason. So, once you stand firm and they know that that is your position, they will leave you alone. You know what I mean? So the young people should not take shortcuts. You talked about shortcuts. No shortcuts about it. Put in the years. Some are lucky they get there faster because Justice Abiru is our year and is now in the Supreme Court. I mean, if anybody had told me, Nika Koka, 23 years on, you won't be in the Supreme Court, I would have said, what do you mean? Do you know what I mean? So, but, we're happy, we're proud of him. Everyone has their own race. That's another thing. Run your own race.
And just before we go, a quick recap of some of the top legal stories in the news.
We begin with the report that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has said that the Anambra State government was not a defendant in the trial of the former governor of the state, Willie Obiano. The commission was reacting to an application allegedly filed by the state government challenging the authority of the EFCC to investigate and try the former governor. Obiano was arraigned on January 24, 2024, and is standing trial on a 9-count charge bordering on a 4 billion naira fraud. He is pleaded not guilty and also urged the court to quash the charge against him, adding that the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain issues on accountability of funds relating to security votes. At the last proceedings of the court on Wednesday, March 14, counsel to the defendant, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Onyechi Kpazu, adopted his processes and urged the court to grant his client's reliefs. On his part, the FCC's counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Silvanus Tahir, urged the court to dismiss the defendant's application. He added that security votes could be probed when misappropriated. Trial Judge Justice Enyang Ekwo has adjourned till April 18, 2024 for ruling on the application. In another story, the FCC has rearranged the Chief of Staff to the Kogi State Governor, Ali Bello, and Wan Daudu Sulaiman for allegedly diverting about 100 billion naira belonging to the state government in September 2015. The immediate past governor of the state, Yahaya Bello, has also been named in the charge. At the arraignment, Ali Bello's counsel, Abubakar Aliyu, objected to the reading of the amended charge to the defendants on the ground that the anti-graft agency had failed to comply with Section 218 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. The counsel said a copy of the amended charge was never served on the defendants, but the EFCC counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, asked the court to reject the arguments of the defendants, adding that the court had on its own endorsed the amendment. Justice James Omotosho noted that he had granted an accelerated hearing in the matter and had also ordered that all objections must be kept in abeyance till the address stage. The court also ordered Ali Bello and Dauda Sulaiman to continue to enjoy the bail conditions granted them in the previous charge. Away from fraud-related allegations, the Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has dismissed a fresh motion filed by the All Progressives Congress APC and its governorship candidate, Mr. Timipre Silva, seeking disqualification of members of the panel from proceeding with their petition challenging the election victory of Governor Doye Diri. Counsel to Mr. Silva had argued that his clients filed the fresh application against the tribunal because they were convinced that they cannot get justice from members of the panel. The respondents, however, opposed the request for the panel members to recuse themselves. They argued that the application was an attempt to prevent them from presenting their defense against the petition. Chairman of the tribunal, Justice Adekunle Adeleye, dismissed the motion after listening to the arguments. In a brief ruling, Justice Adeleye held that a letter from the President of the Court of Appeal on March the 5th mandated the tribunal to proceed with hearing of the petition, irrespective of any application of the parties. In Lagos, the trial of the principal and some staff members of Chrisland School, Okwebi, over the death of Whitney Adeniro, a 12-year-old student of the school, resumed at the Lagos High Court, Ikeja, with the testimony of a deputy director from the state's Ministry of Youth and Social Development. Abisogun, who is a level 16 social welfare officer, told Justice Onyidamola Ogala that his ministry found out that Chrisland School, Okwebi, violated the safeguarding and child protection policy of the Lagos state government in its preparedness for the school's inter-house sports competition at the Agege Stadium, where the late Whitney was said to have been electrocuted. While being led in evidence by the Director of Public Prosecution, Dr. Babajide Martins, the witness also testified that Chrisland School transported over 500 students to the Agege Stadium without obtaining the safety clearance from the state government. He also faulted the lack of a standby ambulance, a doctor, and a retainership hospital in case of emergency. Under cross-examination by the defendant's counsel, the witness admitted that he did not know if the child protection policy was properly communicated to concerned schools.
And this is where we adjourn proceedings for today. Do remember to check out the Channels TV website for a replay of this episode of the program, as well as past episodes. Please also send in any feedback via our social media handles. I'm Shola Shayeli. Thank you for watching and see you next week.